I overheard my wife tell her best friend on the phone that she regrets marrying me. She said I was weak and wasn't as rich as her ex. I immediately interrupted and told her to leave and never return. What happened next was unimaginable. Hello. Thank you for your continuous support. This means a lot to us. If you enjoy the stories we share, kindly subscribe to this channel. It will be great if you can leave a comment on which city you are watching from. We might just give you a shout out in our next story. Today's special shout out goes to Samuel Ray from South Africa. We are glad you enjoy our stories. Now let's dive into the details of today's story. I was standing in the hallway with the envelope still in my hand. Inside it was the printed offer letter from my company. New title, 6-figure salary, company car, housing allowance, all of it. I'd picked it up from HR that morning and had stopped by a realtor's office on the way home. I even brought takeout from her favorite Thai spot to celebrate. It was supposed to be our day. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I just froze when I heard her voice through the slightly open bedroom door. She was on the phone, laughing. At first, I smiled. But then I heard the words. I don't know, Jen. Sometimes I think I married down. I don't know. He's kind, but weak. I thought he'd change by now. My breath caught. I leaned in, every part of me suddenly awake in the worst way. She kept talking. No, he's not like my ex. At least Daniel had presence, money. I miss feeling like I was with someone important. Like we had a future that wasn't just hoping and waiting. She laughed again. The kind of laugh that used to turn my head in a crowd. Now it twisted something in my chest. God, Jen, if I could do it over, I wouldn't have settled. I really wouldn't have. My body moved before my brain did. I opened the door. She was sitting cross-legged on the bed, phone pressed to her ear, still in her work clothes. When she saw me, her mouth dropped open. Jen, I'll call you back, she said quickly and hung up. I stood there for a second, not speaking, just looking at her. This woman I had once believed would be by my side through anything. You should pack your things, I said. My voice came out too calm, like it wasn't even mine. And leave tonight. She blinked. Wait, what? I'm not going to explain myself. You already did it for me. Her face morphed into something panicked. You heard that. I nodded. I didn't yell. I didn't ask why. I just turned, walked out of the room, and sat at the kitchen table. I looked at the takeout bags, still warm. I didn't touch them. She came out a few minutes later. She had tears in her eyes, but I could see the fear behind them wasn't about losing me. It was about losing stability. Please don't do this. I didn't mean, yes, you did, I said. And I'm not angry. I'm just done. She tried to say more, but I stood up and walked past her. Picked up my keys. If you're not gone by tomorrow morning, I'll have someone move your things for you. She didn't follow me out the door. I think she thought I was bluffing, but I wasn't. That was the night I stopped believing in us. And the moment I realized I didn't need her to believe in me anymore either. She was gone the next morning. A few suitcases missing, her toothbrush gone from the bathroom sink, and the framed photo of us in Santorini removed from the wall like it had never belonged there. She didn't leave a note. She didn't call. I didn't expect her to. For someone who believed she'd settled, she didn't linger long in the life she apparently regretted. I called the lawyer that same day. I wanted the process clean. Fast. No room for dramatics or pleas. I told him to file on grounds of irreconcilable differences. There were no kids, no property shared beyond the apartment lease, and no joint accounts. Her pride never let her merge finances with a man she didn't fully respect. The first few nights alone were quiet in a way that felt both foreign and freeing. I moved through my apartment like a ghost haunting a version of myself that no longer existed. I boxed her things with a mechanical sort of efficiency. The scent of her perfume lingered on the edges of fabric, but I didn't let myself pause. I didn't sit down and cry or question if I'd overreacted. I had heard her words. I had stood in the doorway of my own life and listened to the person I loved call me weak. I wasn't about to wait around and prove her right. 2 weeks after she left, I signed the final divorce documents. I declined alimony. She wouldn't have accepted it anyway. She was too proud to ask for money from someone she claimed she should have never married. I didn't need her gratitude. I needed distance. By the end of that month, I had signed the paperwork on a sleek new home just outside the city. Not too flashy. Not gaudy. Just mine. A three-bedroom house with a modern kitchen and an office space overlooking a modest backyard. It wasn't the house we used to pin on vision boards, but that was the point. That house was built on shared dreams, whispered promises, and a future she had already walked out of. I bought the car a week later. Midnight black. Leather seats. Nothing extravagant, but it turned heads. The kind of car that told you its driver had arrived without needing to say a word. I got a wardrobe consultant, something she had always talked about doing if I ever leveled up. I thought of her the day I stood in front of the mirror in a tailored navy suit, the cuff of my dress shirt kissed by a luxury watch I paid for in full. But it was just a flicker, like a shadow passing through a room. I didn't let it stay. My new position at work came with meetings I used to only dream of attending. Strategy sessions, travel allowances, dinners with people who no longer looked at me as potential but as presence. I got invited to panels, introduced at events, even featured in a trade magazine. Colleagues who used to overlook me started seeking my input. Respect, once rationed, now came freely. And still, I said nothing to her. When mutual friends texted, I kept it polite but distant. When her best friend, Jen, liked one of my photos online, I didn't react. I knew what she was doing. I knew the whispers had started. Did you hear about him? Did you see what he's doing now? That didn't interest me. What interested me was how peaceful it felt to live without shrinking, without trying to prove I was enough for someone who had already decided I wasn't. She didn't reach out. Not yet. But I felt the shift. The air around me changed. People looked longer. Old acquaintances messaged out of the blue. She was watching, I was sure of it, waiting for the right moment to insert herself back in, to test if I had truly moved on or just played the part. But she didn't know. She couldn't know. The man she left didn't just change. He disappeared. And in his place was someone who no longer built homes and people who couldn't stay. She came back on a Sunday. Not the dramatic, rain-soaked kind of return you see in movies. Just a knock on the door while I was pouring myself a coffee. I opened it, and there she was. Makeup light. Hair done like she used to wear it when we were still newlyweds. A white blouse tucked into jeans. Simple. Calculated. She looked like a memory that had learned how to smile again. "Hi," she said, eyes searching mine for a crack. "You look good." I didn't step aside. I didn't smile. "What do you want?" She gave a soft laugh, the one that used to mean she was nervous or testing the air for safety. "I was in the area. Thought I'd check in. See how you're doing." "I'm doing fine." "Yeah, I can see that." Her eyes flicked over my shoulder, catching a glimpse of the kitchen behind me. The modern backsplash, the wide countertops, the signs of a life that had moved forward without her. "Jen mentioned you moved. And the new car, the promotion." She paused, then looked down. I didn't know things had changed that much. They had. Every inch of me had changed, and I wore it like armor. "I didn't say anything," I replied, "because it no longer concerned you." She bit her bottom lip, like she was choosing which version of herself to wear next. "I've been thinking a lot. About everything. About us. I made a mistake, and I know that now." "A mistake?" I tilted my head. "You mean calling me weak? Or regretting ever marrying me?" Her face flushed. I was hurt. I didn't mean half of what I said. I thought we were stuck, and I panicked. I shouldn't have said those things, especially not to someone else. "But you did," I said. "And it wasn't heat of the moment. You were relaxed. Laughing." She reached out, fingers grazing the doorframe. "I missed you." I didn't move. "You missed the idea of me. The version of me you never gave the chance to become." There it was, the shift. Her smile cracked slightly. She didn't expect me to talk like that. She was used to the man who apologized even when he wasn't wrong. The man who begged silently for appreciation and built his self-worth around her approval. "I've changed," she said softly. "We both have. Maybe this is a second chance." "No," I said. "This is closure." She blinked. "What?" "You're not here because you love me," I said. "You're here because you lost me. And now you want to see if the man you threw away still remembers how you tasted." The words hung between us like heavy air. She tried to smile again, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That's not fair." I stepped back and looked at her. Really looked. For the first time, I didn't see the woman I once adored. I saw someone small trying to fit into a life she had once mocked. "You told your best friend I was weak," I said. "And that day, the day you said those words, was the same day I was going to tell you about the promotion, the new job, the house. Everything you said I wasn't, I had already become. You just didn't stick around long enough to see it. Her hand dropped from the doorframe. Her mouth opened slightly, but no sound came. I never wanted revenge, I continued. I just wanted peace. And now that I have it, there's no room for anything that sounds like you. She took a step back, wounded pride hardening into something defensive. So that's it. I'm just some chapter you closed. No, I said. You're the reason the book got better. I closed the door. Slowly. Quietly. No slamming. Just a lock turning into place. I didn't look through the peephole. I didn't wait by the window. I went back to my coffee, took a slow sip, and let the silence wrap around me like a promise I finally knew how to keep. She came back again the next week. This time with more makeup, a softer voice, and the scent she used to wear when she still wanted me to want her. I didn't answer the door. I watched her from the upstairs window as she stood there for nearly 20 minutes, pacing, knocking lightly, then with more urgency. I let her knock until she left. That was the difference between who I was and who I had become. The old me would have been flattered by her desperation. The new me understood it for what it was, manipulation dressed in nostalgia. 2 days later, I saw her at the cafe near my office. She must have known my schedule. She wore a smile like an invitation, walked straight to my table, and sat down like we still shared something sacred. You can't keep avoiding me forever, she said, setting down her purse with a sigh. I think we need to talk. For real this time. I stirred my coffee slowly. We talked already. You just didn't like what you heard. She leaned in. You were right. About everything. I was wrong. So wrong. I should have never said those things. I was just angry and scared. Scared of what? I asked, looking her straight in the eyes. That I wouldn't become the man you wanted fast enough? That loving me wasn't giving you the lifestyle you thought you deserved? Her throat moved like she was trying to swallow pride. I didn't mean to make you feel small. I didn't realize how much pressure you were under. I was selfish. I put down my spoon. You called me weak to your best friend. You said you regretted marrying me. And you said it on the day I planned to change our lives. I had the offer letter in my pocket. I had picked out a house. I even bought your favorite food to celebrate. Her face crumpled slightly, but I didn't stop. You didn't just give up on me. You discarded me. You made a decision based on your impatience. And when you found out I'd made it, without you, suddenly I was worth chasing again. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't trust them. I learned to recognize guilt dressed as emotion. I was stupid, she whispered. I thought I'd have time. I thought you'd always be there. And when I saw you doing so well without me, it broke something in me. I miss you. I miss us. I let her sit in the silence. Let her feel the discomfort of words not immediately met with forgiveness. There is no us, I said finally. There's me. And there's the ghost of who you pretended to love. She reached across the table, hand trembling. Can't we start again? Just talk. Try. I'm not asking for everything. Just something. I looked at her hand like it was a relic of another life. I didn't touch it. You don't get to come back because the man I became now fits your standards, I said, standing. You walked away from the soil, but now you want to reap the fruit. That's not how it works. Her voice cracked. You think I haven't suffered too? Maybe you have, I replied, but not because of me. You suffered because you made a choice and lived with the consequences. Just like I did. Difference is, I turned mine into something beautiful. She didn't follow me out. She just sat there, hands folded like prayer, eyes wide with the realization that there was no crack in the door. No warm place left in the heart of the man she threw away. And for the first time, I felt light. Like the weight she left behind had finally lifted. I never saw her in person again after that cafe. She called once more, left a voicemail. I didn't bother listening to past the first sentence. After that, the silence became mutual. Not respectful. Just final. People like her don't return because they've changed. They return because what they left behind changed without them, and that unsettles their pride. I moved into the new house alone. Not bitterly, intentionally. Every piece of furniture, every plate, every light fixture, I picked them all myself. There were no compromises, no what do you think texts, no approval seeking. I started to enjoy the taste of my own decisions. There's a kind of peace that comes from not having to defend your worth to someone who mistook patience for weakness. One night, I came across our old wedding album buried deep in one of the boxes I hadn't unpacked. I sat with it on the living room floor, flipping through images of forced smiles and polished veneers. I studied my own eyes, tired, eager, unsure. I studied hers too, wondering how many red flags I ignored just because I wanted her to be the one. Halfway through the album, I closed it. Didn't cry. Didn't burn it either. I just wrapped it in brown paper and slid it to the back of the hall closet. Let it live in the dark, where some memories belong. Months passed. Promotions kept coming. I traveled more. Started mentoring younger professionals. Ones who reminded me of who I was when I thought being enough meant being accepted. They asked about my story sometimes, and I told pieces of it. Not the pain, just the rise. The silence that rebuilt me. One morning, while grabbing coffee before a meeting, I ran into Jen, her best friend. Or maybe former best friend. Her expression faltered when she saw me. A strange mix of awe and guilt. "Hey," she said, almost apologetically. "You look different." I smiled. "Feels different too. She talks about you sometimes," she added quietly. "Says she wishes she could take it back." "All of it." I nodded. "Some things don't get to be taken back." Jen looked like she wanted to say more, but I didn't give her the space. I thanked her for the kindness, then walked away, the weight of old conversations falling off my shoulders like ash. That night, I stood by the window in my house, and stared out at the stillness of the yard. No arguments. No cold shoulders. No trying to convince someone that I was worth staying for. I thought of everything we were supposed to be, and how beautiful it was to finally be what she never believed I could become on my own. Revenge never came from rage. It came from stillness. From letting her absence become a door I locked gently, without ceremony. She gave up on me, and I gave up needing her to regret it out loud. Because the life she wanted is the life I built. And the man she walked away from? He never stopped growing. He just stopped waiting for her to notice. If this story hit you deep, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more emotionally raw, true-to-life revenge stories. Drop a comment if you've ever been underestimated. Your story matters. See you in the next story.